I'm getting married tomorrow. As I'm filming this video right now, it is Thursday and I get married in Sedona on Friday. So if you're watching this video, I might already be married, and I wanted to take some time to thank you for joining me in this video as well too. Make sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more videos around the Christian walk, prayers, and mental health as well too. We've been putting out a lot more content. My name is Dane Camella. I've been sharing my faith now on social media for over 4 years. And I wanted to make this video just to share the 3 biggest lessons I learned as a believer in finding the person that I would eventually come to ask to marry me. And I know there are many people out there. I've had many conversations with other believers who are looking for that significant other. And although I'm not an expert in this space of relationships and stuff, I just wanted to share the things that have helped me prepare me before I actually found Kira, my fiance now, and soon to be wife, and the things that really helped me involve God in the process in an area that I was very weak in. I don't consider relationships with someone that you would get to know to eventually decide if you would want to marry them or not be a strong area of my life, especially when I was in my early 20s. And the reason for that was it wasn't a priority. When I was 18 and I started following Jesus, the 2 things that were the most important to me were building my relationship with God and figuring out what He wanted me to do with my life, as well as my family. Those were the things that consumed my entire life. So I didn't really pursue relationships for a very long time. And because of that, I never prioritized what it would take to build a relationship where it could get to the point where I could see myself marrying that person. So I want to share with you today just 3 things that really helped me and how God was involved in so much of that, because in that weakness of mine, I was able to lean on Him for strength, and He was able to just orchestrate things so perfectly when you really look back on how He is involved in every single thing that you ask Him to be involved in. We as believers can involve God in every area of our lives, and we should involve God in every single area of our lives, because when we do, He has the opportunity to not only intervene and move, He can speak to us and give us insight to help us discern between what we should do and maybe what we shouldn't do. So I'm going to share with you 3 things right now. If you'd like to take notes, hopefully this can be helpful specifically to someone who might be looking for this now. You might be in a relationship right now, or you might be looking for one and you're trying to make that decision for yourself, whether the person you're with is the person that you should ultimately marry, or how can you find that person for yourself? So let's dive in. Thing number 1, which is extremely important, at least for my case, was I wasn't looking for Kira when I found her. I wasn't looking. I was so focused, like I said before, on my relationship with God and the assignment He had on my life. At that time, I had an amazing job in technology that I was trying to steward well for Him. And at this time as well, too, I had just started sharing my faith. I was 28 years old at this time, and it was maybe 5 or 6 months into me sharing my faith where I was able to meet Kira. And because I was so focused on my relationship with God, as well as just improving in the assignment that God had placed me in, it gave Him room, I truly believe, to bring someone into my life at the time where He knew it was going to be the optimal or the right time, if you will. We never know the right time, especially when we're trying to control everything as believers, or we're so focused on, God, when are you going to bring this person into my life? Or why isn't this person come into my life? And we're seeking and seeking and searching and searching and searching. And we're spending so much time on finding that person where we could almost neglect the first and most important relationship with our life, which is our relationship with God. So I just really want to encourage you right now, if you're in that place where you're just constantly focused on finding that person, take a step back out of that for a second and come back to your first true love, which is Jesus. Spend time with Him. Get into the Word. Pray and say, Lord, you have the right person for my life, and I know you're bringing them into my life at the exact right time, because God wants to build you up to have the right character to be able to steward the relationship that He has for life coming into your life. So I didn't want that relationship to come into my life when I wasn't ready for it, and God didn't bring it until I was ready, which is so interesting to know. So that's thing number 1, is I wasn't looking for that relationship. I was just focused on building my relationship with God and stewarding the assignment He had me in very well. And at the time when He decided to bring Kira into my life, it was a perfect time. And you know what's so funny about that too? He brought her into my life based on something that I was doing in my career. My brother and I, we had a small Amazon business that we had been building for years. And one of the side projects I had that was a passion project of mine, even before I started sharing my faith, was I had a podcast. And on that podcast, I interviewed young professionals who had jobs. Some of them were business owners. And one of the people I interviewed years before on my podcast had a business, and it was in Arizona. And funny thing enough is Kira eventually started working for this person. And because I had a relationship with this person at a time, years later, this person was looking for help on Amazon. I knew them. And my brother and I, we started working with them on Amazon, and that is actually how I met Kira. It's so interesting to see when we're focused on God and the assignment He has us in, and we're building our relationship with Him, and we're working on those things, He will bring the right person into your life as He sees that your sole focus and the most important thing to you as a believer is building your relationship with Him, right? Seeking Him with all of your heart, pleasing Him with your life, and using what He places you in, the assignment you're in, whatever job you have, whatever business or whatever thing, to serve people. So that's thing number one. Thing number two, although I wasn't looking for Kira, although I wasn't looking for that person at that time, I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted in a person that I would consider someone who would be marriage material. So even though I wasn't looking, I had taken some time to say, well, Lord, if you did bring someone into my life, and I think this is so important for every single person who is here listening to this right now, if you haven't done this exercise, to sit down, get a piece of paper out, pray with the Lord and say, what type of person do I want? Not just what they're going to look like. And yes, you can write those things down, and those were some of the things I did. But the more important things to me was, what type of character does this person have? What does this person value? What is important to them in terms of their values? Right? That was really important to me. So some of the things I wrote down was someone whose faith is important to them just like it is to mine. They don't have to be on the same level of faith as me, but I want them to be pursuing you, Lord, because the person I end up marrying is going to be someone who is after the Lord too and has a relationship with the Lord, so we can build and our marriage can be under God, right? So that was a huge thing. Also, one of the most important things to me, and what Kira had such just a strong part of her character was, is she had a heart that was just a heart to love people. That was one of my biggest things that I wanted in someone, because I love to encourage people and I love to just pour into people, and I wanted that in someone else as well too. And she had that. And I could see it from the beginning. And that continued to shine through as we got to know each other. So someone who shared faith, someone who had a really good heart. And the other thing I would say, which was not as important, but still something I thought about, at least enough to write down, was someone who wasn't so caught up in the world, trying to keep up with everyone, trying to just like be everywhere, try to have all these things, right? Just caught up in the world, right? Trying to keep up with everyone else. Their status was so important to them. I didn't want that. I just wanted someone who was practical, who got great joy in the little things. Going on a walk, the relationship building with the things that the people in her life. Family was important. Experiences, not just stuff. Kira was very practical like me. And I think someone who was, again, this is for me, and this is what I was looking for, because she was practical like me. It was so easy for us to have great times together because we didn't need things. We didn't have to go to fancy places. And I'm not saying you can't do that, but that just wasn't the main thing that we cared about. The main thing that we cared about was getting to know each other and to love each other and to build our relationship with one another and to care about people, right? So those things were super important. And if you haven't had the time to do that, I would highly encourage you to do that. Write down those things. Sit down and write. If I did find that person that I could consider myself potentially marrying, what type of person do I want? And get clear and specific. It's not about finding the perfect person. It's about finding the person that God has appointed for you. And he clearly showed me that. And I remember him telling me that too. Dane, it's not about a perfect person. It's about the perfectly appointed person for you. So where Kira was different than me, we complemented each other so well. Where I was weak, she was strong. In some of the areas where she was maybe a little bit weak, I was strong. So we could help and build each other up. There was no such thing as a perfect person. We all have flaws. We all have things about us that make us different that people sometimes have a harder time dealing with. It's about finding someone who aligns with your values, who is there to build with you and encourage you and support you. And you got to remember that. The final thing, because I know we're already at 10 minutes and 28 seconds. The final thing, and this was very important to me as well too. I was very clear when I met Kira about what God was doing in my life. Not just my career, but what I was doing with my faith, because I could see he was asking more of me and asking more of me and wanting me to lean more into sharing my faith. And, we're still here 4 years later, and God eventually took me out of my job, and I'm in full-time online, digital ministry, if you will, or whatever you want to call it, Christian content creator. This was really important to me. And as I shared the importance of this to Kira, she supported me. And not only did she say, I'm going to support you, it wasn't just about words, it was about actions. She supported me time and time again, believing in me, encouraging me, being patient with me, because I went through a lot of ups and downs trying to just deal with something that was so new in my life. And her level of support was unconditional, and it was always there. And she supported the unique type of person I am, who's really excited, who's always working on things. And that was so important, because I don't think I could ever be with someone who wasn't willing to support what I was doing when it came to sharing my faith and what God would eventually position and ask me to do as the main thing for my vocation, my assignment, whatever you want to call it. She supported me unconditionally. And when you find someone who supports you unconditionally, when you find someone who shares your values, when you find someone who you just click with, hold on. Go through the process of building the relationship and the hard work that it's going to require, and involve God in it all. He has opened up so many doors for us to grow in our relationship. There's been challenges, just like every great relationship, but he's done so many great things for us. And I hope that you can find that person and you can be patient to let God work on you, help you build your character. And when you find someone who supports you on both sides, because I have to support her dreams, I have to support the things that she cares about. Look for that person who consistently demonstrates that they support you, not just in their words, but their actions. I hope this helped you. Thank you for all of the kind words and messages on our marriage and getting married tomorrow. And the next time I see you, I'll probably be a married man. And I hope this video helped in any way. If it did, let me know what you think in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you in the future videos to come. God bless you.